Hello, and thank you for stopping by the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. I am Thomas Metal 75, and this is your Massachusetts Beer Reviews. I am just going to pull up the live chat in case people are joining us during the live chat. Today is a beer that I was sent by our buddy from the beer drinking community. His name is Jon Walker, and he sent me two beers from the Hardywood Park Craft Brewery. They're located in Richmond, Virginia. One of the beers he sent me, which I will be aging for the next year, is their original gingerbread stout. This was the first one he sent me that I will probably review in December of 2018 or January of 2019. This one is an imperial milk stout called the gingerbread stout with fresh local ginger and honey. It's from their reserve series. It's 9.2% alcohol by volume. And this one in my hand is the one I will review this evening. I'm not obviously I don't have the company of anybody else here, so I will not be drinking the whole thing. I will cap it and drink it throughout the weekend, and hopefully not too much in the next week because it will lose some carbonation. But this is their 2017 Hardywood Christmas Morning Stout, which is, as far as I understand, a very similar beer. It is gingerbread stout conditioned on locally roasted coffee beans, local roasted to Richmond, Virginia, they say on the hardywood.com website. That Christmas morning, Hardywood Christmas morning, lends a cheerfully heightened decadence to our gingerbread stout through conditioning on locally roasted Mexican chickpeas coffee beans from Black Hand Coffee Company. Hints of sweet honey and oven-baked gingerbread greet the comforting nuances of freshly brewed morning coffee in this imperial stout. Skip the leftover cookies and milk and awaken your senses with this delightful holiday tradition. It's 9.2% alcohol by volume, imperial stout, 55 IBUs. It's available in the winter. It's in the reserve series, and this is from December 2014. Well, I should say it was first released in December 2014. I believe it gets 100 out of 100 on Rate Beer. Haven't looked it up on Beer Advocate, but Jon Walker talks about these beers sell out in a matter of days or weeks. I think he said like in 2 weeks, both of these beers in his local area. He lives near Richmond, Virginia. He says in his local area, they have sold out in a matter of weeks. And live, we have Jay Theriault from Louisiana Beer Reviews joining in and observing, and maybe he'll ask some questions about said beer. Hello, sir.
Oh, I don't have much to say. I'm just drinking a Milwaukee's Best premium, and I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sure that beer is good. I'm sure your beer is going to be fantastic. Jonathan Walker sent that?
Yes, he sent both of them. And I'm going, and I have his address from the priority mail shipping label, and I will be sending him the money via check very, very soon for that. Here is the gingerbread stout looking bottle cap from Hardywood. I'm going to put it.
There's only one thing I want to say, really.
Go ahead.
Somebody sent me some beer Sunday. Thank you, Lawrence Hartnett. And I don't know if anybody's aware, but the Postal Service delivers on Sunday.
Excellent.
For packages, not mail.
Right.
Okay, and I'm not going to say any more. And then in a little bit, I'm going to drop off, but I just wanted to say hello, happy Friday evening.
Yes. This is going to be, as I showed, this is going to be enjoyed in this snifter glass. My uncle on my mother's side went to, I don't know, you probably can't even see it. He went to one of the colleges he went to was Wake Forest, and it does say Wake Forest. So imagine a college with a brandy snifter. Glug, glug, glug. There you go. Pour a little taster into the glass. Again, 9.2. Not the biggest beer in the world, but it's pretty big. It is 1 pint 9.4 fluid ounces. And here is just slight ruby red tinges, but here is the color on the Hardywood Christmas Morning Stout. It is definitely pretty black, but there are some more like ruby red, almost light mahogany tinges, but more of it's just plain old black as night, and there's a little bit of that red with the khaki head that you would expect from an imperial stout, but it's not very big or large, and I wouldn't expect that to happen with this beer. There is a little bit of the alcohol legs. This is coming out of a refrigerator, so it's not the warmest beer, and some purists of imperial stouts are probably going to look at me going, you should have had that in the open on the counter for 15 minutes or so, but whatever. Jonathan Walker's watching live. Heck yeah, he says, cheers, thank you for the beer, and I will got your address, and I will send you a check for the beers and the shipping. So, yeah, it looks like a really good, well-made imperial stout so far. It's got the look. Does it have the smell?
Yes.
What he said, yeah. We just did an examination on this beer review channel of flavored beers, and I had a coffee stout, 7%, from the Banded Horn in Biddleford, Maine, and it was a Jolly Woodsman coffee stout with Kenyan espresso. So it's kind of reminding me of that in a way. Not quite as roasted. No, actually, not even quite as big in the nose, to be completely honest, but this isn't as darkly roasted as that in the nose. This actually has more, not even gingerbread, to be completely honest, but it has more of a darker chocolate note than it does straight up coffee. So there is a roastiness to it. It's like a medium roast, maybe. And definitely I'm getting the darker Baker's type chocolate for sure on that one. Not big or boozy in the nose, which is great for what I'm getting out of that.
What's the ABV?
9.2%. And it doesn't even really smell of big booze. It just smells kind of chocolatey. It has that lactic, sugary note to it. Maybe there's some brown bread in there in the malt. A little bit, I would say light to medium, more on the medium side of roasted. And it kind of just smells like a bigger milk stout, if that makes sense, more than it does a coffee stout. And maybe there are a little bit of the cinnamon, a little bit of like a nutmeg kind of a spice. But if I didn't know this was supposed to be a gingerbread type stout, I probably wouldn't even be thinking of those notes. So I'm going to try on camera this Jon Walker scent beer, the Christmas Morning from Hardywood. Cheers to Jon Walker watching live. Thank you for the beer, sir. I will pay you for that.
Cheers.
And they say it's 55 IBUs, International Bitterness Units. And it's definitely drinking much bigger than the nose. And it's definitely got a bigger bittering level to it than you would suspect from its nose. There's definitely a lot of dark chocolate notes, like I was mentioning. There is that medium roastedness like I got in the nose. I'm actually getting in the taste now more of those darker cherries and maybe like raisins, I guess. Yeah, I think raisins too. It's definitely more of a 9.2 in the nose or in the taste than the nose led on to believe. It's still, for an imperial stout, I would say on the very dangerous drinkable side. So this is not a beer that you drink and then you go out and do things in your vehicle, or as the Surgeon General would recommend against, you should not be using or operating heavy machinery with this one.
No.
It's just lots and lots and lots of that dark chocolate. And there's more of, I don't want to say an herbal quality. That's not it at all. There's more of this spice rack blend to it. Not very big or anything like that, but there's definitely some light amounts of cinnamon and some light amounts of that nutmeg mixed in there with this chocolate and this coffee. So all those things coming together do give you the light taste of the gingerbread. I can see why gingerbread stout is a good description for this beer. Although,
what's the price for that bomber?
He said both of these, Jon Walker said both of these individually were $10.
Each?
Each.
Holy smokes.
And the shipping was about $15. So I have going to write a check this weekend for $35 for Jon Walker on that one. Thank you, sir.
Ooh. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm just going to.
Okay. One of the notes that I was going to make here is that I can see, where they're going and calling this a gingerbread stout. If this was marketed as some kind of a chocolate stout or an imperial chocolate stout, that to me in the back of my brain would be almost a better way to market the beer. Yes, there is some of this dark roasted coffee, but the roastedness, the roasty quality to it's more like a medium. It's got a pretty good, not overly prickly carbonation, but there is some crispness to this. Is it clean as an imperial stout? Would you really expect an imperial stout to be clean?
No.
Not really. I would say it's not the sweetest beer known to mankind. So in that regard, as far as an imperial stout is concerned, I will say it's semi-sweet. And is it refreshing? As far as big old 9.2% imperial stouts are concerned, sure. This one, like I was saying, is dangerously drinkable. And it's this one so far is a real treat. It's just so easy to go and drink and be merry in Christmas. But again, do it with the driver or don't operate heavy machinery at all. What else can I really say about this beer? Yeah, the 55 IBUs. Not exactly sure, according to the Hardywood's website, what kind of hopping that they're using on this beer. But I even noticed that when you drink imperial stouts, you can kind of get, at a boozier alcohol percentage, you can kind of get more bittering just from it being a higher alcohol content. I think some amount of alcohol does contribute a good deal to bittering of a beer, regardless of the bittering being hop related or not.
Well, it looks fabulous, and I know it's better than what I'm drinking.
I mean, it's dangerously drinkable, and that's kind of what I like about. Sometimes that's what I like about imperial stouts, and I think it's very. I find that these imperial stouts are really great in these bigger alcohol by volume beers are really great where they can be a bold beer, but they don't come off as aggressive in the mouthfeel. They're not hard to drink. There's not any amount of any harshness going down. I might, if I really thought about it, I might in this region kind of be getting a little bit of a warming sensation from the alcohol, but I get no alcohol. I get no real alcohol heft from the mouthfeel and taste, and I get no real warming or burning sensation whatsoever. It just reminded me of a bigger, more alcoholic. If Left Hand Milk Stout could be an alcohol, it could be a imperial stout, or say John Courage Imperial Stout from England, but without the boozy undertones of that beer, even though that's not really a hugely detectable alcohol. But this one is definitely tasting like those kind of beers, but with less of the alcohol presence and more of this cinnamon, this light cinnamon and nutmeg and brown sugar kind of a feel about it. But I wouldn't even say that the sugariness is cloying. I think it's done quite right. And it's not like sticking to your teeth and not giving you this gritty kind of like a film that sometimes really sugary products and drinks can give you, or like even like a candy bar or something like that.
Right. Well, that sounds great. And
I don't really know what else to say about that. I guess in the grand scheme of an Imperial Stout, if you want an easy drinking Imperial Stout, this is, I guess, Hardywood in their gingerbread stout lines. This one, being Christmas morning, is a really excellent option for you. I don't get Hardywood beers up here in New England, so I've never had any Hardywood beers to speak of. And going into the beer and how Jon Walker described it, being very hard beer to come by, and when it's on the shelf, it disappears. I can understand why it does that. It packs a lot of flavor. It's a big beer. It doesn't have any of the big beer boozy in flavor characteristics. So for those kind of beers, if you like big chocolate and some coffee in the background, this is going to be a beer for you. And we must be in the 20s, 21, 22 degrees here in Massachusetts, where I live. So good beer for a good Friday night. So I don't know exactly what I would rate it in terms of an actual number over the course of maybe a minute here or two of sitting and contemplating. I might be able to give it a number score, but this has to be at least no less than an A minus. This is really good stuff.
How about 94? A.
I could at least give it no higher than that. 94 is probably a really, really, really great rating for this. You know what? Why the hell not? This definitely is world-class stout, and it's not going to be as harsh and boozy as, say, Dogfish Head Worldwide Stout, or it's not even going to be as boozy as any of the Bourbon County Stout lines. Now, I know those are higher alcohol by volumes, 12, 13, 14%. Worldwide Stouts usually every year from Dogfish Head between 15 and 20%. But 9.2, this is pretty, again, I keep saying it, but it is what it is. It's a very easy drinking, easy-going Imperial Stout with lots of chocolate, coffee in the background, light cinnamon and nutmeg, and some brown sugary towards molasses, but not that sweet. So we got Tyler Mansell. He was live, and he's gone off camera right now. But Jay Terrio, Louisiana Beer Reviews. Do you have any questions on the beer?
No.
Any questions on the beer? Tyler Mansell, hello.
Oh, it looks pretty good, though.
What are you enjoying this evening?
Doing well. How are you?
All right. Are you enjoying any beers this evening?
Yeah, I've had some craft beer today. I did build your own 6-pack, and I uploaded a video of Founder's Breakfast Stout. That was really good. Second time I've had it. I also had this hot debacle.
Oh,
interesting.
As I capped it off with the
Dale's Pale. Great beer right there.
All right. Well, good night, guys.
All right. Thanks for stopping by the live chat review.
Thanks. Y'all join me at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning for Dawn Busters.
Wow. Or maybe Christmas morning.
All right. Good night, Jed.
Good night.
Cheers. Yeah, I will definitely conclude without being a broken record here. Thank you for the beers, Jon Walker. Again, you will be paid back for that and the shipping for both beers, $35. You'll get a check at some point in the near future. And I'm definitely 94. I suppose for what it is, it's probably a 94. Why the hell not? It's just such an easy drinking beer. Again, like I said, without to be a broken record, but it's 9.2%. You can tell there's only the slightest amount of I don't want to say rubbing alcohol, but there's only the slightest amount of a little presence that you're getting of 9.2. I think as it warms, to be completely honest, I think some of that might even diminish a little bit in its original state from the 9.2 taste. Even though there's not a whole bunch of it, I think it's going to smooth out in the taste, and I think more of the sweetness and more of this malty complexion is going to come out as it warms. But as it is, like 42 to maybe 45, somewhere in that Fahrenheit temperature range from the refrigerator, 94 for this thing is quite acceptable. So, yeah, that's where I stand on Hardywood's Christmas Morning Stout from Hardywood Park Craft Brewery, Richmond, Virginia. First one I've ever had, and you know, pretty ridiculously good. So I will conclude that Friday night review for now. This has been Massachusetts Beer Reviews. We had Jay Terriot as observer and Tyler Mansell as observer. Jon Walker watching live, man who provided the beer. Thank you very much for the delicious brew. And until next time, everybody, keep tasting those great beers. Cheers. And I will see you soon. Go Patriots. Slay those Jags.